because do you re-sign Dak and then you go and get CeeDee, or do you re-sign CeeDee and then hope Dak is happy with that and gives you some? I just don't know. We clearly know they're pushing the Micah decision off.
Yes, because I think they know, well, we're going to make him the highest paid defensive player. We know that.
Yeah. We got to figure out the other side.
Negotiating that. Yes, the Dak one, that's going to be a negotiation because we don't want to make him the highest paid QB in the league because we don't think he's deserving. And the CeeDee one, that's also a negotiation because you're trying to slot him, like you said, in between the 35 and 30 million and where you're going to slot him. And that shouldn't be too tough, but Micah's easy. Micah's going to be the highest paid defensive player in the league.
Yeah.
Argue maybe in history. I mean, I don't know, depending on how they negotiate the deal, but yeah, that one is a no-brainer. Even if you decide to move on from Dak, that was a no-brainer. Because if you move on from Dak, then why are you paying CeeDee? Like, why are you gonna pay CeeDee all that money if you are moving on from Dak?
Well,
you can make that argument.
No, you can, but I think you can also make the argument. You move on from Dak, you hope and you pray you get a quarterback either in the draft or you sign somebody in free agency. You try and piece it together for a year or two as you go try and get somebody else. And, you maybe leverage a couple picks to move up in a draft and get a quarterback that you want to get in the draft. You keep CeeDee, you keep Micah, but you try and get a quarterback on a much more reasonable contract for you. And you figure it out. If you say Dak wasn't getting it done in the playoffs anyway, so we're not going to be able to build that way, but we've already paid Trayvon. We've already played Micah. By the way, Jerron Bland's contract's coming up too. He just finished in Defensive Player of the Year voting. That's another one you got to figure out at some point coming up in the future.
Yeah, see, my thing was if you're going to move on from Dak, you might as well just reconstruct the offense totally because you're already constructing the defense. You signed Trevon Diggs. You're going to sign Micah, right? You got a young Jerron Bland in there already. You just signed your safeties. At least you got a couple of your safeties around for a couple of more years. You invested in Mozzie Smith. Your defense actually is going to be all right. Your offense, you let your left tackle walk. You got a brand new center. You don't know who the hell the running back is. We don't even know who the third wide receiver is on this damn team. Hell, it may not even have a second wide receiver the way Brandon Cooks performed last year. My point is, if you're going to move from Dak, maybe sign and trade, but trade CeeDee Lamb, get picks for him so you can move up in the draft and get your quarterback of the future. And then you can build around the quarterback. Since we talked about it, receivers, you can draft them early. It's a really deep position at all levels, and you can draft future number one wide receivers. Hell, there are a bunch of them. There are like 20 guys making $20-some million. So there's a lot of number one wide receivers out there.
There are.
Go find the QB first. If you're going to, if you move on from Dak, I don't think you should move on from Dak. But if you are going to do it, I don't think you should re-sign CeeDee to make him a $33 million a year.
But the issue with that is if you don't re-sign, you're clearly going to play this season trying to win. You're not doing anything before the season. So if you're not doing anything there, then you have to trade CeeDee now because you can't trade him at the end because you don't want to be under contract. So which means you have to give him a new contract to trade him, which means now you're going to kill yourself in money that you have to give up in dead cap because the dead cap that you're sending over that you haven't paid and that stuff is going to kill you when you sign a new contract. It just becomes much harder.
Stupid, and you should have signed him earlier. And then you would have had the option to trade him if you wanted to, a more attractive, appealing.
No,
but you didn't do that.
I agree with you and fully that there's a lot of things they should have done. I'm saying of where they're at right now. I think that, and I think what you worry about is you don't want to end up being the Giants, which is, well, there's tons of wide receivers out there and we can't find one, and we keep drafting and we keep missing, and we don't have a quarterback and we don't have a wide receiver and we don't have anything now. And our offense is completely stagnant and terrible. And we could have the best. We could be the Jets. We have a great defense and it means absolutely nothing because we have nothing on offense.
Yeah. We'll see if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy, then maybe they'll have something. But you're right. I know I don't like the situation the Cowboys in. I'm just saying if you are going to move on from Dak, doesn't make sense. And you shouldn't. All right,
let me ask you this. When the Texans had DeAndre Hopkins, their offense was at least manageable with mediocre quarterbacks because they had a star wide receiver, right?
Yeah, but did that translate to any success at all?
I think it just fills you up. I think
success? You're talking about just moving the football? Like I'm talking about I'm trying to get.
But if you're saying you have a better defense,
I'm trying to win a Super Bowl.
We're talking about
but I'm trying to win the Super Bowl. To win a Super Bowl, you need a quarterback.
I agree.
And I'm saying if you're going to move on from your quarterback, then why the hell are we going to be paying CeeDee Lamb when I can do our best to try to move on from CeeDee Lamb, trade CeeDee so I can get assets so I can move up and go get us a quarterback.
I just don't think
I'm talking about getting a quarterback. You talking about moving the football.
No, I'm talking about I think you have to. I think the way the Cowboys roster is constructed, they either need to get rid of every single player on this roster and completely start over. You can't pay Micah that money because he ain't won anything for you. You can't pay Trayvon that money. You can't pay Dron Bland. You can't pay CeeDee. You can't pay, which means you're going to be bad for 4 or 5 years to try and hope to rebuild. I don't think you can keep a good.
Trayvon.
No,
you already paid Trayvon.
I get that, but you have to trade him. Get rid of everybody.
You could do that. I don't think that's the way to go. I would start building the defense because you can build with a great defense because you have a generational defensive player. So you can build with defense. I wouldn't go that route. I would rebuild the offense. If you're going to get rid of Dak, that's the central piece. If you're going to move on from Dak, I don't think you should. But if you're going to, then you can rebuild the offense. But why rebuild? Why reconstruct the whole thing when you have a generational player on defense? You can pay him
because if you're paying him $100 million a year and you win 3 games, and then by the time you get an offense, you got to pay him again. And you can't pay him because you got an offense now and you got to pay the offense.
Yeah, but then you're talking about rebuilding 2 phases of the game rather than rebuilding 1.
I'm just saying, but I think if you're going to be bad,
you want to rebuild the whole thing rather than just start with
I don't think you should pay Micah Parsons to be the highest paid player on defense if your team is going to be a 3-win team. That's where I think the problem is. And I get you can say how quick can you turn it around, but I just don't. Yeah. That's
if you're. I think that's if you're tanking. The Cowboys, if they're tanking, I guess yes, that's your.
If you don't have CeeDee and you don't have Dak, you're tanking because they don't got a run game. Brandon Cooks is going to be gone, so they don't have any wide receivers. They don't have Dio offense. You get rid of all that.
But listen, look at the Texans. A tank, successful or not, it only takes you to hit the right pick, man.
It does.
It don't take long. Like you act like this is gonna take a long time, man. We're going to pay Micah and then pay him again. It's like it's not gonna take 8 years to do it, guys. We're gonna do this, and this is a 2-year to 3-year turnaround. Look at the Texans. You can do it pretty quickly. You just have to hit on the quarterback.
You do have to hit on the
QB, and you get the right head coach. It don't take long.
But
they don't hit. That's what they're trying to do. But if you want to take it for 8 years, if you're gonna be an 8-year rebuild, do not pay Micah. But who the hell's gonna stick around for that long? Jerry Jones gonna be dead. No, I'm serious. We're trying.
I get you. I get what you're saying. I have no faith that the Cowboys are going to draft a quarterback in the top 5 picks and make the right pick because they've never done it. They missed what Jimmy Johnson did. But that's been
right about that.
That's something Jerry hasn't, and so that's what I'm saying. I don't trust him to build an offense in any way. Like I think that they're going to try and keep drafting quarterbacks in the 2nd round and hope that works. And that's why I agree with you. If you're trying to say we can go in and build it this way, I just don't capitalize into what the Cowboys do. I think that it's more of a reality that they keep CeeDee and they let Dak walk, even though that may not be the best opinion. I don't think there is any good idea now that you've let everybody slide this far.
No, I agree. You're at the Argo principle now. Yep. It's the best bad idea. You're either going to overpay and re-sign all your guys, or you're going to essentially risk losing an all-pro. Basically, you're going to lose because all 3 of them are all-pros.
Yeah.
You're going to risk losing an all-pro quarterback or an all-pro wide receiver. Micah's not. They're going to keep Micah, dude. Micah's selling more damn jerseys than Dak. That's a Jerry Jones guy if I ever seen a Jerry Jones guy. He's doing podcasts and on TV shows. Man, that's Jerry Jones, his son, if I ever seen one. I mean, he's the son he's never had. He really is. So Micah ain't going nowhere. The question, the fact they even let it get to this point with Dak lets you know that internally they're at least willing to let the perception be that, oh man, you know what? Nah, we may move on from Dak. Just to let that be out there with your franchise quarterback is wild.
It's crazy.
Because your quarterback is going to be, he's going to feel a certain kind of way about that. He'll feel slighted, like, oh, so you guys are even willing to let it be entertained? Let it be a conversation that you guys are willing to let me walk and hit the free agency? So I don't know what the Cowboys are going to do.